Okay.
All right, this is Donovan Dreyer here, and thank you so much for opting in to this really amazing series. We've got just some amazing teachers for you, so we're excited that you've decided to tune in to our Monetize Your Passion Academy series. We've got some amazing training for you. I'd really like to introduce you now to Julia Neiman, who got this whole production started. This was her bright idea. So, Julia Neiman.
Hey there. Thank you, Donovan. I really appreciate that. And I just want to reiterate what Donovan said. We are really happy that you're here and that you have opened up to the opportunity to learn what skills you need to know to be an entrepreneur and have your own business. And, you know, I just want to tell you briefly why I'm doing this. I truly believe that everybody has a dream and everybody deserves to have that dream come true. And the thing that we want to do here in the Academy is empower you with the skills and the habits and the values and the knowledge that you need to actually start and grow a business and become that entrepreneur. You know, especially for young people, the jobless rate, the unemployment rate for young people is a huge crisis over this entire planet. And it's my dream that through becoming an entrepreneur, we can actually end youth unemployment. And what we're offering in the Academy is an opportunity to get those skills, to get that knowledge. We are shortcutting your connection to amazing mentors that will teach you what you need to know and guide you on that journey. You'll have Donovan and I the whole way. And we will actually help you through starting your business, through identifying what your passion is. And the reason I'm really big on that and actually named the Academy that was because if you do what you love to do and you are passionate about your life and your business, you're going to be happy. You're going to get out of bed every day on fire and ready to go and just be really happy. And the way I came to this, you know, I have 20 years a career as a clinical social worker. I worked with teens in foster care, and they had, because I'm a clinical social worker, my kids had a lot of mental health issues. And so one day, one of my clients came home and said to me, I quit my job. It's like, what do you mean you quit your job? You just got this job. And I realized at that point that he could get a job. He was really bright and funny and smart. He could get a job, but he couldn't maintain it because of his anger issues and some other things. So we looked at what could he do? What skills did he have? What did he want to do? This was the first time that it occurred to me to find out what their dream was and what could he do to build a business around that. I never really thought about that before. So I discovered that he could draw. He was a very good artist. And I said to him, well, what do you want to do if you had a choice and you could do anything in the world you wanted to do? Well, he wanted to be a professional skateboarder. He wanted to be the next Tony Hawk. And Tony Hawk was, you know, this was a while back. Tony Hawk was just starting out and just had his career going and was just becoming a superstar of skateboarding. He wanted to be the next Tony Hawk. Well, because of certain issues that he had and a lack of physical coordination, I knew that that was never going to happen. But rather than tell him that and make him really unhappy from the start, I said, well, while you're honing those skills, what's something that you can do to keep you connected to skateboarding? So that's when I learned he could draw, and he showed me his drawings. They were excellent. So I suggested that he do something that we could customize skateboards with. He came back the very next day with 12 new drawings. And he said, okay, where do I sell them? So we turned a skateboard over and we called the manufacturer of the skateboard and explained the situation. And the guy said, okay, we'll fax them over and I'll look at them. So we faxed over the designs, and the very next day the guy called and bought 4. So within 48 hours, this kid went from quitting a job to actually starting a business. And then a few weeks later, he came up with the idea that if he had some silk screening equipment, he could do some silk screen designs and have them hanging in the local sporting goods stores. And in a matter of a few short weeks, he had designs on t-shirts hanging in the sporting goods store. So if he could do it, anybody could do it. And that started me on that path. From that day forward, I started getting all my clients to think about what they could do for business to create their own jobs, their own careers, so that they didn't have to be dependent on the system. They wouldn't have to go through life with food stamps and welfare. And many of them actually started a business, and 12, 15 years later, they're still working that business. So if they can do it, you can do it. And that's what our hope is for you, is that you will find what ignites you, and we can actually help you get on the path, figure out what you need to do to get that started, and then just take you all the way through growth of that business. And so I'm really happy that you're here. We have some amazing mentors. This particular series of videos is it's their general talking about, we talk about how to have a podcast, how to create joint venture relationships. We talk about how to be a leader, the qualities that you need to be a good leader. We talk about how to make sales, because if you can't do sales, then you're not a business person. You have a hobby. And there's a big distinction between that. So these are all kinds of things that we teach you here. And I've been doing this for quite a while now. And my mission, again, going back to that, is to end youth unemployment worldwide. And the way for me to do that is by helping you all become entrepreneurs. And so that's why I'm here. And thank you for being here. And I just hope you really enjoy the series, and that this motivates you to then sign up and be a part of Monetize Your Passion Academy. And let's make your dream life happen. And with that, I want to introduce you to Donovan Dreyer. And Donovan will tell you a little bit about himself and what he's doing here.
Hey, Julia. Yeah, thank you. I really felt moved by your story initially. And it never gets old. That's what really, I think, draws people in, is you have a real life example of how this can work, and at least get started, right? You know, this artist is still doing this work years later. So you really have a cool opportunity. And that's why I crossed paths with you, and we found to be kindred spirits, is that I'm in that same spot of that belief. You know, there's this guy, Dhananjaya Hitchatari, and he's got this big speech that won him the International Toastmasters competition. It's called "I See Something," but you don't say it like that. It's like, "I see something." And then the funny line is, "But I don't know what it is." So everybody's seeing something in Dan, and they keep telling him, "But I don't know what it is." So it's this big talk about potential. So in the end, he's got another video that he follows up and talks about, what the heck is this speech all about? Like, what do you mean? What is that something? And, you know, why can't you find what it is? And everybody, his wife said, "I can't see what it is." And his mentor couldn't see what it was. But eventually there was a mentor who could see what it was. And he also said, "But I don't know what it is." But I think that was just to kind of keep his fun speech going. So Dan was seen by somebody at the Toastmasters. So he gave his first talk, and he did really, really well. And this guy just basically said, "I see something in you." And I think in this case, he saw that he was going to be potentially an amazing speaker. So he kind of put two and two together with what that potential actually was. And obviously Dan, you know, became the internationally best speaker. So his potential was realized. And so for me, I love that piece of seeing something in people too. And even, you know, when I look at what I'm here for and how you and I are aligned, Julia, is that I basically believe that you find that something and then you make it happen. And that's where, you know, Dan also agrees that that's where it takes some help, some mentorship. And his mentor obviously was pivotal for him making it to being the best speaker in the world. So I really love what we have in the works here, where we know what the education of the future is and the training of the future is. And it didn't just start, like you said, Julia, you've been doing this for a while. I've been doing this for a while. And what we've discovered is that there's just a new way to do education. There's a new way to train yourself for this future. And I think my favorite one I thought of is, hey, Mr. Dreyer, you know, when I grow up, I want to create something that doesn't exist yet. And I'm like, sweet, let's do this. You know, that's the possibility. Like that would like blow somebody's mind, I think. If somebody was to say, "Hey, I got an idea and it doesn't exist, and that's what I'm going to do when I grow up." But we've got to stand for that. I had one young lady, you know, I've got a juicy story too, like you do. I had one young lady, it was just a few minutes before class, and I was like, "Okay, what's up lately?" And she's like, "Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a lawyer." And I was like, you know, like one of these little cartoons, I'm like, what? This does not make any sense. And I'm like, wait a minute here. Where'd this come from? And she said, well, my parents, really want me to do something secure. And I think actually I said, you stole the show in our last musical. And she's like, thanks, Mr. Dreyer. But I'm doing this because my parents think it's like safe and secure. And I'm like, oh, you have something. I see that something, I really saw that something in her. And I pointed it out that, hey, do you think this is easier when you're trying to do this whole, like, go for your dreams when you're 40 something and maybe have 3 kids? It isn't. Just kidding. I'm just saying it's not. But it isn't. It's way easier to take these shots in life, take these chances in life when you're younger. And so I explained it to her that way. And like I said, we just had a couple minutes before class, and she's like, you know what? I like that idea. I think, you're right. This is the time when I should take my shot at it and take my risk. And I always have something to fall back on. It's almost like we have this reversed. People are ready to do their fallback plan first before they even take their shot in life. So that's what I'm excited to stand for. And, eventually she, I worked with her and her mom one-on-one and got mom bought into it with that same idea. This is the time to take our risks in life. And then separately, I think they talked to dad, and now everybody was on the same page. And so she went from lawyer dreams to wanting to be a princess. So specifically a princess at Disney. So I think that's where you really can see exciting things when kids start to get that sparkle in their eye, that passion that they can turn into their thing. And that's where you and I meet eye to eye, Julia. So I'm really excited to share with these entrepreneurial minded kids. And I think everybody can use a little wrinkle of that for sure, of what we're doing right now in education and training and learning. So we're going to introduce some amazing speakers through this series. And it's exciting to just make these connections, as you said, so we can shortcut. And we drew out awesome stuff from these people that works better for a younger crowd, because they don't always necessarily teach younger crowd. They're working with kind of us old dogs and teaching all these new tricks. But we really worked hard to draw out the pieces that were really pivotal for somebody that's younger in life. So, whew, I'm excited, Julia. I'm really excited to have everybody here to get welcomed to our amazing speaker panel and just enjoy the shows.
You never told me that story about Darren before. That was a really great story. And I think kids today, young people today, the millennials and the new founders generation coming up, they have such an advantage because they grew up with the technology. So they don't even have to learn the technology. They just have to figure out how to use it for what they want to do. And I just earlier today saw this great story about this young woman. She's 20-something, and she makes hair extensions, and she makes them to actually match the pattern. They're not the usual ones you go in the store, but they actually match the pattern of your unique hair. And look at my unique hair. I mean, it would take, it would be.
Look at mine. Do you see mine? I'm looking for mine.
It would be impossible for me to go to the store and actually find something that matched this unique pattern. So anyway, she was telling how she went on Instagram and she just started talking about the hair extensions and how they match. She created it to match. Well, she said within 30 days, she was speaking to movie stars, and somebody called her to come do hair extensions for people on a movie. And within 30 days, her business just exploded. She hadn't even thought about selling more than 1 or 2 extensions at a time. She thought she'd make a few connections. Well, now, like a really short time later, she's made over $1 million. Selling hair extensions, just using Instagram. And they're now teaching free classes on how to do that. So these are the kinds of things that we teach you in the academy. I mean, whatever idea you have can actually be turned into a business. Whether you want to be a professional skateboarder or do something related to skateboarding, or become a jewelry maker, or do whitewater rafting, or taking people on hiking trips, or becoming a radio DJ. Do you want to have a landscaping business? I mean, there are so many things that you can do if you love doing them. There's so many ideas out there. And the biggest takeaway would be to be flexible and be adaptable. Stay up with what's happening with the changes in employment, because everything is changing. Automation is coming in soon. We're hearing like all kinds of really scary stories about what automation is going to do, and really, really positive stories. On the really scary side, a lot of the blue collar jobs are going to disappear. Walmart is going to be like 90% automated within their stores. And we've seen this start already. A lot of the grocery stores and stores you go into have self-checkout. That's all their first initial move into seeing if automation is going to work for them. And it's working. People really like it. So I don't like it. I like to go to a register where there's a person. But that's me. I'm old school. So
yeah, it's like we basically are looking at exciting opportunities. One way, it's scary. You don't have like this thing that you can count on for 30 years later, like we maybe thought in the 80s or 90s or 70s even. So now we've got an opportunity where there's like, you can craft it, you can make it up, let alone like think of ideas that you see and then wanting to do it. Now it's time to answer, yes, we can help you. If you have something that doesn't exist yet and you want to make it exist, it's possible. Like, tell us about that. Like, tell the people watching about the man candle story.
Oh, I love that story. So this 14-year-old young man got a candle for his birthday, and it came in a glass jar. And he said to his dad, I cannot burn this candle. And his dad said, why not? He goes, it's too perfumey. It's too girly. I am not lighting this candle. And he gave it to his sister. So his dad said, well, do you like candles even? And he goes, yeah, I wouldn't mind having a candle. And he goes, well, what is your idea for something that you would be happy to light? And the kid just started brainstorming with his dad, and they came up with candles. Man Candles is the name of their business. And it's a candle in a tin can. And it's masculine, and it has a more masculine scent to it. And so his dad helped him figure out how to get them manufactured. And by 19, he was 14 when he got this candle. By 19 years old, he was a millionaire. And Man Candles is still a thriving business, which tells you how many men out there really appreciate having a non-girly candle. So, it doesn't take much. It takes an idea, and you just have to do a little research about the idea. We teach you how to do that. You could have.
I think another one, Julia, that's huge is not overdoing the social media too. Like sometimes you can just blow up with Instagram, but like take YouTube for an example. One of the things I've been thinking about is like Facebook came on with advertising, and then they just raised the price of the ads, and they could price people right out of the market for being able to get word out about what you do, where it used to be pretty inexpensive before. And the YouTube ads, they could pay you 1/100th of it tomorrow. So if you're making $100,000 per year today off of YouTube ads, if you are basically YouTube's, employee and sending people to YouTube and getting people excited about YouTube, but they actually pay you those ads, or they're in that arrangement. If they cut it by 1/100th, today you're making $100,000, tomorrow you're making 1,000. So we got to really, one of the things that we'll talk about within our program is what's that difference? Well, how do you distinguish when something is fine and you can count on it, like your own list or your own website, versus you're at the mercy of somebody else, where it could be, hey, what if they cut the prices of what they're going to pay you on the ads? Or what if they really raise the prices if you want to do ads through Google AdWords or Facebook or some other process?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's coming. It's like everything now is being monetized. Used to be you could get on a free site and get an autoresponder, which is basically a tool where you can program your emails. And they used to have, you could have like 10,000, and then they would start charging you. Now you get 100 and they start charging you. And it's getting more and more expensive. And then you can get a free plugin. If you have a WordPress site, you can get a free plugin, but then you have to pay individually for all the features that you want that plugin to do. So every way you look at it, people are monetizing what they do. And it used to be you could go into business for nothing. And now it costs a little bit of money to do business on the internet. It's still not overly expensive, and you have to be careful what you buy into. But you have to know these things, and we help you identify what you really need in your business. Sometimes you don't need any of that. And the other thing is, if you need to reach a lot of people, that's what joint venturing is for. Collaboration is the key. It's the new competition. So rather than competing with somebody, you find somebody who does something similar to what you're doing, you join together and promote each other, and you've reached that many more people. So you can grow exponentially by having joint venture partners. It's a really fabulous way to go. So we bring that information in. And then we teach you leadership skills. If you're going to build a business that's going to require employees, you have to know how to be a manager. You have to know how to be a boss. You need to know when it's time to delegate work to other people. And that's a learned skill. Anybody can pick it up. You just need to have somebody who knows how to do it, show you how to do it.
Yeah, I like to think of it like a puzzle, Julia. I think that's what really kicked into gear for me is, when I figured out who I was and what I'm about, it's basically, I've always loved solving tough puzzles. I've liked golf and the stock market and flying airplanes. And so when I look at what I do to help people with this process through getting ready for high school and then getting out of high school and what you're supposed to do along the way, it's almost like putting these puzzle pieces together. And I like the really challenging ones. I think this is an absolute thrill to help in this new era of entrepreneurship. We're helping the next gen. We've got people that are old dogs that are like, some of them are figuring out, but a lot of the students out there in this new way of learning and getting trained are not really figuring it out. And I think it's basically because the younger generation is just going to be able to click on all this stuff, because a lot of it does require technology and a balance of what you do in person and a balance of what you do on a Zoom video or with other technology. So putting these puzzle pieces together for me is really exciting. And then having, even if they got to carve out their spot in the world, having kids not be like a round peg trying to fit into a square hole or vice versa. It's like, you are who you are. Let's monetize that. Like, you are who you are, and you're excited about it, passionate about it. You're bringing your experiences to the table, the things that you value, and then you just craft it. And it's like a puzzle. And there are a lot of pieces, though, to the puzzle that you can look at and see, and we know where they go. And I think that's what's this program is basically about, is to help people who want to do that put all these pieces together and create that picture or that end result puzzle that they want to do.
Yeah, and you brought up a really good point about being yourself. And I just want to point out to everybody that this little video and the rest of the videos in this series were not rehearsed. They weren't scripted. We just got on the video with people and started talking. So we are actually modeling for you everything that we do on these videos in the academy. Everything that we do is just modeling what you do in business, whether it's good or bad. We've had some flubs. We've had times where the internet just went down while we were in the middle of an interview, and you just carry on and you come back and maybe splice the two pieces together. And that's just it. We're just showing you, this is it. This is real.
So epic fail is okay. You can have an epic fail and just keep moving on, Julia.
Epic fails are good, right? Like you take Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb. A reporter once asked him, how did it feel to fail 10,000 times? Because it took him 10,000 times before he came up with a winner. And he said, I didn't fail. I just found 10,000 ways it didn't work. And he just kept going until he was successful, because he knew that it would work. He knew.
Yeah, and I love shortcutting too.
What's that?
The shortcutting that happens if a part of the puzzle piece that is my favorite thing to do is help people dial in, like quickly too. It doesn't take me forever and ever and ever to get to know somebody and help them get to know themselves. But, I've had to do it like that in the schools sometimes. And it's like, okay, fine. I've got 4 minutes. We're going to do something. Yeah. And when you do that, the thing that's exciting about it is you don't have to take as long as I did. And you don't have to take, as long as a lot of the people who are out there today saying, I don't know how to shoot a video, or I don't know how to do anything on LinkedIn, or I don't know how to do an update to a website, or well, how do you do this whole social media thing? And it's like, we've got a generation that's just like, get out of the way. Like, come on, old dogs, move over. And it's exciting to kind of short circuit that or shortcut it for the next gen to just crush it. If you're going to be able to do it in 30 days and hooking up with people in Hollywood, you and I have seen that. We know it's real. And I just think this next gen coming up, this is a thrill, to be able to have this opportunity to be a gateway for that and to make it all happen earlier. Or maybe it's not that early for you and you're like kind of frustrated and you're out there working at a minimum wage job and you've already got a college degree in something and you're just still kind of lost. This is something that is really thrilling. The next gen is going to crush it, don't you think?
Yeah, I do think that. And I think that you know, college, we didn't really talk about that yet, but college is also changing. I know that a couple of states now are offering free college because, and what does that tell you? That tells you that kids aren't going to college. So they're offering free college in order to get kids into school because they get paid for everybody, every butt in a seat they get paid for. Federal money, and if they don't have that, they don't get paid. So they're dropping college tuition and making college free. And there's nothing wrong with a college education. It's a good thing. It gives you a well-rounded background. It gives you more things that you can talk about, you know, but you really need to weigh that today, because if you have to pay tuition, that could put you in debt for the entire rest of your life, and then you'll be working to pay off your debt. I was reading some statistics about millennials the other day. They're not buying cars as much. They're not buying houses. They're not buying things. Those things aren't important to them. And frankly, I like that trend because it gives you more freedom.
Well, don't you think when we say, hey, you got to get ready for the real world and stick our thumb on them and tell them that they're not ready for the real world, that was kind of like our bad. Like we're the grown-ups. We're the ones that are supposed to make it so that they're ready for the real world, or say, hey, we're open to new ideas. Like the real world's kind of jacked up. We give you all this debt. Why don't you come in here and help us be a part of the solution? Don't you think?
Yeah, and the exciting part is that they're creating the real world. They're creating the new real world. You create your own world. So what are you going to create? What do you want to create? You know, if college isn't for you, it's okay. You know, college is a thing that you can always go back to. So take your chance now. Jump at what you want to do, give it a try. And if you really want to go to college, I'm not saying not to go. College is a good thing. You know, I have a master's degree and I actually went through a PhD program. So I went to college and I really enjoyed it and I really got a lot out of it. It's not for everybody and you may not need it for what you want to do. You know, if you want to
jump over to Monetize Your Passion, Julia, what's the huge value that kids would get out of not, you know, if college maybe is something they've done or it maybe complements college, what's the huge value or 2 or 3 big values you see for anybody that decides to even just watch the series of videos? Let's start with that. First, you get value out of the videos, and then what?
You get value out of the videos, and then you learn how to create. You learn how to create a business. You learn how to take responsibility for your own economic well-being, and then you can go to college and not have to be in debt.
That's really good. You know, I just feel like this is, you know, this is the wave of the future, and it's exciting to be right here at this ground floor level. And, you know, I'm looking out 2050, 2070, and I see that there's just such cool opportunities to begin something that lasts. And it's not really going to last, though. Like you said, if things are going to last, go Google it. If things are going to last, get a robot to do it. If things are going to be lasting in terms of being adaptable and flexible and ready to continue to, you know, in 2050, create something that doesn't exist. In 2070, create something that doesn't exist. We're creating a different learner. We're creating a different way of learning and training and making that real world different because we decide to make it different. I mean, this is really exciting to be right here, right now in such a cool time where this world is moving from being kind of like Google, where you spit stuff back as an accountant, or being like a robot and working on an assembly line. Let's open this up. Let's open the creativity and the ideas right on up.
Yeah, I agree with that. So anyway, we're going to go back to saying we are really glad that you signed up for this opportunity. And I hope that you listen to all the videos. They run approximately 45 minutes to 60 minutes each, and they're just filled with golden nuggets. So even if you don't end up signing up for the Academy, which I hope that you all do, you'll get some really good learning from these videos. And our Facebook page is, you sign up there, we'll announce the next video when the video is being released there. We'll be emailing you a link to the videos when they're released. We're going to do 2 a day for a week. There are 14 videos, 13 or 14 videos, and we're going to release those 2 a day over the next week. And I hope that you really enjoy them, and be sure to connect to our Facebook page. The link is right here on this page, and also will be in the email. So thank you for joining us. And again, I'm really delighted that you opted in, and best of luck with your future.
All right, Julia, it's been a joy to be a part of crafting and creating this opportunity for the next generation of entrepreneurs with you.
All right. Bye, everybody. See you on the other side of the videos.
See ya.